I'm gonna rank from least to most which champions have the best pay-per-view sellability. I guess the best pay-per-view sales in general. Which champion sells the most, starting from the least. You guys get it. So for some of these, I'm gonna have actual numbers, and for some of them I'm not, because UFC is kind of weird with how they, like, sometimes they put out the sales, or I think it's even the commissions, so it depends like what state it's in, and like the state will put out the numbers, and then some states won't, or the UFC won't, or whatever. So usually if it doesn't sell well, it doesn't come out. So that's kind of how you know that it's not good. But yeah, I mean, I don't even have to dive deep into this to know that Alex Pantoja he's got to be the worst in terms of sellability, you know, and it's not even really so much him. It's just flyweight in general. You know, that's always been the lowest selling division, pretty much no matter who is the champion. We saw with Demetrius Johnson. I mean, sure, he's not the guy that's going to like trash talk you, but pretty much everything else about him was fun to watch. His style, how he fought, getting finishes, just being as good as he was. And he was charismatic too. Like, yeah, he wasn't Conor charismatic. He didn't really trash talk. He was really nice about it. But if you're a real fan, like you're still going to like him, and he didn't sell well at all. And it's just kind of because it's just how flyweight is. It's kind of weird. I guess it's just such low of a weight class that it's just not appealing. Like, it's not really that appealing to me and most other fans too. With a lot of people, it's like the higher the weight class, the more they like it, because it's more chance for knockouts and all that. But with me, it's not even like that. Like, I think lightweight's probably my favorite weight class to watch. Maybe welterweight. I honestly like watching those for the most part more than like a heavyweight or a light heavyweight. So it's not even so much the weight for me, but for some reason it's just like not appealing. It can be fun to watch for sure, like they're really fast and stuff, but yeah, I mean, Pantoja, definitely in last place on this list. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he doesn't speak English very well. He can actually speak English, but he doesn't have the most charisma. His first language isn't English. He's also a grappler. But I'd say the top reason why he's the lowest is just because of the division he's in and not so much him. So Pantoja coming in at number 8. I'm going to be honest, guys, like a lot of this video is going to be like speculation and kind of estimating, because the pay-per-view sales usually don't get out most of the time, I would say. Or it's like you have to find some weird report that puts it out. Like it's really hard to find a lot of the times, unless it's like a highly selling one, then they'll just put it out no matter what. They're only really going to put it right out there if it's a really high seller. So if it's not out, it's probably expected that it's low anyway. So that's the assumption we can make. But anyway, next on the list, this one hurts me to say a little because I like this fighter, but it's Leon Edwards. I get why. You know, he's not the most exciting. He's not the most charismatic. His style is, I like watching him fight. I really do. I think he has a fun style to watch, but it can definitely be boring. And especially the fact that he's fighting Bilal next. I mean, that's going to take a major hit. And that's not even so much his doing. It's just him versus Bilal. I think Leon's one of those fighters that he needs someone else to really push him. Kind of like the Colby fight, which I don't think that one even did a crazy amount of pay-per-views. But I saw reports that the second Leon Usman fight did about 360K. And that's not terrible, but it's not great either. Yeah, I would guess, I don't know this for sure at all, but I would guess that the Colby fight probably did around maybe 500K, maybe a little more, because Colby did sell it pretty well. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple reasons why Leon's not the biggest draw, and that's just his fighting style. His fights can definitely be a bit boring. He's not really a finisher. Just, you know, the charisma thing too. But I'm actually a big fan of him. I get really excited for Leon fights. So yeah, number 7 would be Leon Edwards. For number 6, we got Dricus. And this one's kind of a hard one to pick and predict because he just became the champion. He's only headlined one pay-per-view so far. So, and it actually did pretty well. I think Strickland versus Dricus did around 500,000, what I've heard at least. And that's pretty good. I would have thought that one did a lot less, to be honest, but that's mostly because of Strickland, like just who he's become. He's become a big star. Just the things he says, obviously. Like, Dricus is definitely not a huge star. Maybe he can be, and maybe in South Africa he is, but Dricus, it's hard to tell. But like, just based on everyone else, all the other champions, it's definitely him. He's next. So who knows? I mean, he has a lot of potential. His fights are very fun to watch, but I think the North American fans don't care too much for him. I think he is above Leon, though, still, a little bit. Just based on the fact that his first pay-per-view sold 500,000. I know Strickland was a big help, but I'm going to give it to him. Especially he's probably going to fight Izzy next, and then that's going to be a huge fight. They got that rivalry going, so he's building a lot of interest, in my opinion. Dricus would be number 6. Now, here's where I think it gets a little interesting, because I think from now on, pretty much all these guys do pretty well pay-per-view-wise. But I think there still is a clear pick for this next one, and that's Topuria. Mostly, again, just because he's the new champion. He's only headlined one pay-per-view. Again, so I think he can definitely be a huge star. I just don't think he's there yet. And probably more internationally. I'm from Canada, and like all the Americans probably feel the same way. Like just in North America, he's not the biggest star. Like, you know, that's just how it is. He's Spanish or he's Georgian or wherever he's from. So, but his style's great. He's very skilled. So even here, I think he can become a big star, and especially in Europe and just other parts of the world. But he's still not quite above the rest of the guys on this list. So he's going to come in at number 5, but has a lot of potential for sure. And, you know, there's the O'Malley fight out there, and there's tons of fights. His pay-per-views are going to be very exciting. He's a shit talker. He's got a really good style. He's fun to watch, very skilled. All that. He's got a lot of good attributes to him in terms of pay-per-view. So he's number 5, but not by much. Going with number 4, I'm going to go with O'Malley. I think this is a perfect spot for him because I think he's smaller than a lot of people think in terms of star power, but he's also, I think he's bigger than a lot of other people think, the haters, because yes, he's not the most charismatic. He's not the best on the mic. That's pretty much a big critique with him. But when he just fights, when he's on a pay-per-view, you got to admit, like, it's exciting. It is. Like, there's a lot of buzz for him, and everyone gets excited for his fights. Like, his fighting style is what carries him, really. It's, like, enough. And the fact that he's champion now, it just makes things so much bigger. And, you know, he's just got that star power. Yeah, I mean, there's some people, I would say not very smart people, that would think he's, like, number 1. He's, like, the new Conor McGregor. But he's not on that level. You know, a lot of people think that. But, this is a good spot for him, number 4, because he is big, just not huge. You know what I mean? So this is where I'm going to put him. Some people might think he's not above Topuria either, but as of now, I would say he definitely is. He's defended the title, and he's got the fight with Merab coming up. I think that one's going to be exciting. But yeah, his fighting style, you know, the hair and all that's pretty cool. I don't really, you know, kids probably like it, but, you know, it is what it is. He's interesting. He's an interesting person to watch, and number 4 is where I'll put him. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting, the top 3. And to be honest, like, this top 3 can probably be interchanged in every way. But here's what I'm going to go with. Now, this was tough to pick, but I'm going to put Islam number 3. And there's just a couple things that puts him a little bit below the next 2. And some of those things are, I think the recent pay-per-view didn't do the best. You know, if Islam's this huge star, him versus Poirier, you know, like, I heard it did 500K. I know, you know, Conor's someone that said this, and I know Conor McGregor is not the most reliable source, but I would think that it probably did around that much. That sounds about right. And that's a bit low for what I think people think how much of a star Islam is. And he is a big star, but it's the same thing. It's kind of like, you know, I live in North America, so maybe it's skewed a little bit, but yeah, he's definitely not as big of a star as the next 2 that I'm going to go over in this part of the world. Obviously in Russia and other parts, he's huge, and he is a big star, but I think a lot of the times it really matters who he fights. Like, he's not really the one bringing the numbers in, but the things that do make him a star is just the fact that, you know, he's compared to Khabib, and he's on this huge streak, and he's regarded as, like, the number 1 pound for pound right now, which he should be. And so, yeah, all that gives him the star power. But I think, you know, just the wrestling and the fact that a lot of the times you know how an Islam fight's going to go, it turns a lot of people off. And that's why I'd put him at number 3. But again, you could put him at number 1 if you wanted. You really could. Easily, you could put him at number 2 or number 1. I was thinking about putting him at number 1, to be honest. But this is the order I'm going to go with. This is how I feel. It's my opinion. So, yeah, and I'll explain more going on to the next one. And this one, again, might shock some people. But I'm going John Jones, number 2. He would be number 1, but he's lost a lot of points here, just with his inactivity, with the fact that he doesn't want to fight Aspinall and he wants to fight Stipe instead. That definitely took a lot of hype away from the potential Stipe fight. Like, I bet that'll do so many less pay-per-view numbers if and when they do fight compared to if they fought a year ago. And even then, I don't think it's going to do that much because people aren't interested in Stipe. They're interested in Aspinall. If he was active and he was fighting Aspinall, oh, he'd definitely be number one. But in my opinion, he's not, just because how the current state of the UFC. If this was a few years ago, then yeah, he is a big star. And I'm not going to act like he's not a big star. The Cyril Gane fight did around 750,000, which is really good, especially since the guy he fought on is just not a star at all. So that's good, but he just lost that momentum. I know he got injured, it sucks, but that's just the current state. And that's the main reason I'm picking Alex Pereira at number one, because he's pretty much the opposite. He's been super active, and everyone loves his style. Yes, I know, like, all-time, John Jones has probably sold more pay-per-views, and he's had more events and all this stuff, but I'm talking about the current moment. And the current moment, I'd say Alex Pereira is the biggest star in the UFC right now. Obviously, yeah, this can interchange a million times, just based on what's going on, but what's currently going on is Alex Pereira is a huge star, and he's fighting every week, and he's knocking everyone out. I mean, yeah, you guys know how it is. He's got that aura, man. He's got that aura. He's got that absolute weapon of a left hook. And yeah, he's my favorite guy to watch currently right now, 100%. And yeah, I can't get enough of him. And just the fact that he's fighting, he's saving this UFC 302 card Conor pulled out, and he's hopping in, he's saving it, and he's fighting again. Like, that's going to put him above everyone, especially if he wins. But yeah, I'd say he's the current most exciting champ right now. And again, maybe all time he doesn't have the most pay-per-view sales. Maybe his pay-per-views haven't done as many as some of the other guys on this list, but I don't care. That's what I'm going with, man. He's the most exciting to me. I think he draws the most at the current moment. And yeah, again, this is a list that, you know, it's my opinion, and you could ask 100 different UFC fans and they'd probably have a completely different list, all of them. So, you know, I went more with like my opinion rather than like actual data, and that's mostly because real data is hard to find and you can't trust every article that you see. It's very like skewed. So I tried to look at a lot of pay-per-view numbers, but they're just hard to find. And so for the most part, along with a little bit of data, it's mostly my opinion mixed in with some of the other stuff. So yeah, that's how I feel. That's the video. And yeah, please let me know what you guys think. I want to know your guys' list in the comments. Just write a list. Write your own list in the comments, how you would order it. And yeah, but that's how I feel. This is the exact order of which guys I would want to watch, which pay-per-views I would buy in a row. So yeah, again, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.